Hi, this is Chris and Jakub from PagePro, and today we have a very interesting case study. Today, Jakub is going to share the story around very nice optimization where Jakub found ideas how to optimize Vercel hosting cost by 35%. So I hope you will find it very useful. So I will start with some context. So who was the client? So the client was a global SaaS company that had multiple language versions and multiple locales. So they had US version, UK version, and also Spanish version. They were investing a lot in content marketing. So their blog was very popular. They shared very interesting case studies and blog posts, and the traffic was growing. The traffic was growing, and also application usage was growing because they were developing their app for around 3 years. They started with Next.js and Sanity and Vercel, and their roadmap was very big. So they were releasing new features weekly, so with very high cadence. So this was the client, but they had some issues with hosting costs. The traffic was growing, the application was growing, but also the costs were growing. So they decided to reach out to us, and Jakub did the initial assessment to check what are the issues. And Jakub, what were the issues for this case?
Yeah, so I found a few of them. First of the things that interest me was the very high invoice value from the last, let's say, 3 months with their current traffic, which indicates that they have some things not optimized correctly, or even not optimized at all. That was the first thing that we've noticed. The other one was like a lot of this pricing was made by serverless function usage, which was very high. They have a lot of function executions, and the duration of the function was very high for that amount of traffic. Additionally, their builds were taking a lot of time, which was something that we also consider that we might fix. It doesn't have as much impact on the Vercel cost, but it's also speed up the development and the CI/CD pipeline and things like that. And then they didn't really know what's causing those costs. So we've came with some estimations and plan what we can do to improve those things.
Yes. So yeah, I remember their engineering manager was complaining about those build times because they wanted to release something for staging to test by the whole project team, and it was taking ages. Yeah. So I remember that after this initial call and initial audit, you had some idea. As I remember, you was expecting around 30% of cost decrease based on your investigation, and how it worked, and what type of optimizations you implemented.
So yeah, that's correct. I've estimated like 30% of the cost saving, and also the same value for build time. I wasn't really too optimistic about these values, but I want to set some goals that will keep me involved in this and make me like do a lot of work and get a lot of knowledge to make this happen. So that's a very very hard task, but it keeps the motivation high. So that was a good way to approach. And yeah, one of the things that we have in our mind, which I didn't like at all, was to change the stack, but we didn't consider that at all. We just made the setup smarter and make more efficient. We've started by optimizing the first thing that we've noticed, which was the function times, the duration and the invocations. So we've tried to find places where those functions are unnecessary, and we've added extra if statements and other extra checks to reduce the amount of function invocations when they are not really required in these places. We've also made some updates to default Vercel settings for memory usage, because the functions were using way less memory than they were assigned that the lender was signed. But please keep in mind that that was before the Fluid era, so we have to think differently. Probably right now the Fluid could fix some of those costs because they are doing more parallel work. From this we've switched to converting the server-side rendered pages, because most of the pages were server-side rendered, even if they were serving the static content. So we've switched that to static site generated pages, and also implement the ISR to make them to allow customer to publish the updates immediately, but with way less cost and without the required build. And also without the need of calling the functions every time a user visits a page. So that was the two of the things. And to be honest, those two things have the biggest impact on the application. The other ones also have some impact, but not as big as those two. If I would have to choose only two of those methods, probably those two would be the top priority. But we've also have some more space, so we've switched to more optimization. We found some places where we need some live data, and instead of fetching that data from the server, we've switched to client, because this data was not covered by tokens or anything. That was a public data, but it has to be live. So that also reduced some traffic from Vercel to the provider. And that's the most of the things that worked for the Vercel costs. I mean, from the functions, executions, etc. And we've also mentioned about build times, and we've made some improvements in that. We've focused on removing some unused code that doesn't need to be within the bundles, etc. We've compressed the assets. We've do some extra optimizations around the bundles, like we've used the bundle optimizer to remove all of the chunks that are not needed. That also worked on the reducing cost, because it reduced the CDN usage. It's fast data transfer and fast origin transfer. So we reduce those values, and they also have impact on the end costs. But for the build, the most important thing was to move some of the fetching and fix the fetching of the data, because they were fetching the data inefficiently. What I mean by that, they weren't caching this data at all. So let's say that we have 60 pages that were built during the build time, and they were all fetching the same chunk of data, and this chunk of data was not cached at all. So we've started with things like that to reduce the build time, and it worked. We've also made one more improvement about some other data, but we've made this data to be generated during build once, and we've saved that to JSON format, and then we can use this JSON from the moment of the build till the end of the build. So it was also a great improvement. And as I mentioned before, we've also tweaked some Vercel defaults to make it more efficient for this project. But as I mentioned, currently you have this Fluid option, you have some image optimization extra options, so you can probably do better with those settings. But it's good to know that you can change the CPU assignment and the memory assignment to your functions to reduce the costs, because they are calculating the costs of the function durations. They're increasing the cost of function durations.
Yeah, so the things you mentioned, both are optimizing the cost, but also increasing the website performance and also user experience, right? Because if the application loads quicker, it's better for the final user. So it was a side effect of this optimization, but I think it's also very, very useful. We weren't focused on that. And you also mentioned a lot of new Vercel features, and I guess with every Next.js update, we have some optimization improvements. So it's great that the whole framework and the Vercel is investing time and money in the optimizations, but you need to be up to date to understand if you need to do the update and how to change your configuration. Okay, Jakub, so you plan to decrease Vercel billings by 30% and also decrease build times by 30%. And I know you achieved much better result. So what was the final result?
Yeah, it was like 35% in cost, universal cost reduction, and like 40% of the build time decreased. I wouldn't say it's much better, but it depends on your current billing, or because for someone 5% will be a lot, and for someone will be like $1. So it depends on the scale. But yeah, as a result, they can handle like 1.5 times the same user traffic as before within the same pricing. So I believe it was worth. And if they won't grow as much, they will just pay less for until they grow. And additionally, the performance is still strong. And the user experience is also the same. We didn't do any changes in the functionality, so we keep the app within the same UX UI. We didn't do any updates. We just improved the performance and the costs.
Perfect. Okay, so that's a very good result, and I'm very proud of you and PagePro doing that optimization. If you have a similar problem with your Vercel billings or performance, you can check the case study. We have the link here in the video description. Or if you want to jump on a call with me and Jakub, we can check your situation. And maybe this is just about switching one thing in your Vercel settings, or maybe changing rendering method for some specific areas of your application. Yeah, thank you, Jakub, for the optimization and also for sharing the case study. And yeah, see you next time. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. See you.